What's going on, everybody? Jolton here from the Token Minorities, and the NPL Season 3 Week 1 is here. And this week, my team, the Toronto Raptors, will be facing who has been ranked number 1 in the preseason power rankings by most of the analysts, and that is Trev the King's Atlanta Braviarys. So, right off the bat, we have a rematch of my playoff game in which I got eliminated last season. So I'm definitely pumped to get this rematch, and we both have totally different rosters that I'll kind of talk about here soon. So yeah, I'm very excited for this game, but this video will be just illustrating my team building process. This is going to be different than how I did it last year, where I just made everything in one big video. I'm going to try to separate it a little bit, gives us a little more content in addition to just, I think it's just more pleasurable to the viewers to have it in 2 separate videos. So this video will just be talking about my team, and keep in mind that by the time this video is posted, we will have already done our battle, so it's not like I'm revealing my sets to my opponent. So yeah, I'm not stupid, don't worry about that, but that's kind of how this is going to work, so let's go ahead and dive in. So first, looking at his team, it's very different than last year's team. Like I said before, if you do recall my matches against him last season, he has Mega Blastoise, Victini, Kieran Black, Landers T, Azumarill, Umbreon, Alomomola, Doublade, Heliolisk, Aggron, and Braviarys. So it's kind of a threatening team, actually. It is kind of a slow team, and that's one of the first things that I noticed whenever I was building my team, is that his team is pretty slow overall, and he seems to rely on sweepers that don't use setup moves. The exception, of course, is Azumarill, but I do have a Mega Venusaur on my team that I'll talk about here in a little bit, so I don't have to worry about Azumarill. But other than that, the majority of his team is more focused on just hitting hard without having to set up at all, and I am going to use that piece of information to my advantage in my team building process. So some notable threats are the Victini and Kieran Black, as those two are potentially 2 of the top 5 best Pokemon in this format, just because they are so versatile and they are so powerful. Even if their speed is lacking a little bit, they can easily just run a Choice Scarf and become a huge threat. So those 2 mons are the 2 that I'm most worried about, or I should say are the 2 that I'm going to prepare the most for. Other mons that are notable threats to my team are the Aggron, as if it is a Choice Banded set, Choice Banded Head Smash actually 2 KOs my entire team, which is really unfortunate, so I have to be a little bit careful about that. And the Mega Blastoise is something that I also want to make sure I keep in check, just because it is his best hazard remover, and if I can keep enough pressure on that, I actually can hazard stack all over him. So that's kind of my thought going into my team building process. I'll go ahead and hop on over to that. Alright, so before I jump into this, if you haven't already seen my team overview video featuring all the members of my team and my thought process behind drafting them, I advise you to go check that out now, so that you have an idea of the mons I had to work with when building this team, and the link to that video will be in the description below. But now, beginning the team building process, first and foremost, as I said when analyzing Trev's team, it seems that I can hazard stack on him pretty easily if I pressure his Mega Blastoise enough. So to start this team off, I decided to use a hazard stack Greninja. Now, I felt Greninja was the best candidate for this for 2 reasons. One is that, of course, it is my best hazard stack mon just in general due to his moveset, but 2, Greninja is actually a pretty big threat to Trev's team, and I expect him to want to bring in a wall to Greninja every time. Maybe Heliolisk, that's not really a wall, but it's obviously a decent switch into it, or he could even bring in something like Alomomola or Kieran Black against the Greninja, and if he decides to make a switch on my Greninja, that's just another free turn for me. So turn 1, I'm on a Focus Sash, so turn 1 I get Spikes to Toxic Spikes, turn 2 I get Spikes to Toxic Spikes, and if I had both of those up against his team, I can actually wear him down very, very quickly, and that's something that I wanted to build my team around in this game, as I know how threatening Toxic Spikes are to teams that are not prepared for them. So that's kind of the idea with the Greninja. I did out EV him to outspeed a timid Heliolisk. Not that I'll be able to do any sizable damage to the Heliolisk, but the goal is to get up hazards and then Grass Knot and Scald, as the case may be. So that's the first mon I created for this team, and then next up I decided that I wanted to play it safe and have a counter to Azumarill, as Azumarill is a huge threat. I really don't expect him to bring it in this game just because I do have a Mega Venusaur, but I'm not going to go into this game, especially week 1, without a counter to an enormous threat. So I'm bringing Mega Venusaur, even if it's only really good against the Azumarill. and I'm running a max HP defense spread with a bold nature. So the only way his Azumarill can be a threat to this Mega Venusaur is if he's running Power or Bounce, or if he's running Natural, Gift, Flying, or Psychic. So I'll have to, I guess, scout for those moves, but really the most damage those things can do to me is like 60%. So I'm not terribly worried about it. As long as I keep Mega Venusaur healthy in the presence of an Azumarill, I am a-okay. So I'm just running a standard moveset on that. And then next mon up is a Terrakion. If you look at his team, he really has 2 switches to Terrakion. Those are Doublade and Landorus T. Now, I'll kind of talk about this more, I guess, as I show you the other members of my team, but the fact remains that if he switches in Landorus T against this, I have a Shukaberry, which will, of course, weaken ground moves, so his Earthquake damage will do, like, nothing to me. And I have Hidden Power Ice on this, so the Hidden Power Ice should be an easy 2-hit KO, even on defensive variants. Well, actually, it's EV'd such that it's exactly a 2-hit KO on defensive variants, so I'm not really worried about Landorus T at all. And really, the goal of this team, at least the first 3 mons on this team, are to weaken his team to the point where 2 of my last 3 mons can sweep him. So that's kind of the idea with these first 3 mons. And hopefully Terrakion can set up a Swords Dance and be a huge threat. Even to Doublade, Earthquake will do a decent amount of damage. But I'll kind of talk about the entire team as I show you everything. It's kind of tough because really the team works together very well in this particular match, as opposed to just being 6 unique parts. So there's the Terrakion, and then we have probably the ace in this match, and that is the Porygon Z Double Dance, Agility, and Nasty Plot with Tri-Attack and Dark Pulse. The Tri-Attack Dark Pulse actually has coverage that hits his entire team for very, very strong damage, especially after a Nasty Plot. And if and when I'm able to get off an Agility with this Porygon Z, I'm even a threat to his fastest mons, even if they're running a Choice Scarf. So really, I'm expecting this Pokemon to get in 2 or 3 kills in this game. It might not even die. It might go all the way. That's what I'm hoping for anyway, and that's kind of the idea with this moveset. So now onto the next mon, I'm bringing a Clefable with Cosmic Power and Stored Power. So I'm expecting this to obviously not be able to take hits very well. And it's kind of interesting that I say that, because the last mon on my team is going to be a dual screens Rotom Heat, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But behind screens, I expect Clefable to be able to set up very, very easily, especially with the Braviarys, which is the one that reduces the power of Steel-type moves. So behind screens, I can get up 1 or 2 Cosmic Powers with relative ease, and once I have 2 Cosmic Powers, if you look at his team, he has exactly one potential answer to this, and that is Doublade. And I have many answers to Doublade, so I'm not actually worried about that. And if he does send in Doublade, then I can just spam Hidden Power Ground, as that's what my Hidden Power is there on the bottom. So I think this is going to be win condition number 2 in this game. Win condition number 1 will, of course, be the Porygon Z, and those will both be supported by this dual screens Rotom Heat. Now, here's kind of the overall strategy for this game, and if I get this word for word correct whenever the battle actually begins, I'll be very happy, because in all of my mock battles, at least in like 80% of my mock battles, I did like 5 and it happened at 4 of the 5. If I get Rotom Heat in against the Blade, then it's essentially game over, as I can expect him to try to switch into Kyurem Black, as Kyurem Black is his best switch in to a Rotom Heat. And even if I was carrying Hidden Power Fighting, I wouldn't be able to do anything to it. Even if I was carrying Will-O-Wisp, I wouldn't be able to do anything because Earth Power still immediately threatens me. So I'm expecting him to go straight into Kyurem Black against my Rotom Heat. That gives me the opportunity to go for a Light Screen against the Doublade switch, predicting the Kyurem Black to come in. That way I can live even a Choice Specs Earth Power with my given EV spread, which is basically, I have enough speed to outspeed a timid max speed Blastoise just to make sure Blastoise cannot spin on anything. And I have enough Speed F and HP to be able to survive the hit from Kyurem Black. So I can get up dual screens and basically sacrifice Rotom Heat in the process. I'm expecting this plan to work very well because I think that he thinks I am bringing Rotom Heat to wall Victini. I'm actually not. I'm going to let something die to Victini if I have to. But the plan is to stay in control of the momentum throughout the entire game. And to do that, it requires these screens to be up, and it requires me to either set up with Porygon Z or Clefable, and I think I can do that very well in this matchup. So that's kind of the team. I didn't really go into the nitty-gritty details of the EV spreads this time around. I wanted to try a different format, and if you guys could let me know what you think of this format, I'd really appreciate it. I just want to try something a little bit new at the start of the season and see how you guys take it. So that's the team. I'm really excited. The game is going to be starting here in probably an hour or so. So here we go. I will see you tomorrow with the upload of the actual game. Wish me luck, guys.